It is a chilly morning at the end of January, and the sun is just coming up over the trees. Welcome back to Granja Caimito in the Pedroches Valley of Andalusia, Spain. We have dug this trench, and Angel is installing a rather over-dimensioned conduit for some cables for an upcoming project. We will not only bury the cable conduit, but also some pipe for water. And we better put it into the ground, because yes, we do get freezing temperatures. The cables will be for electricity and fiber optics, and no, we are not connected to any grid at all. This one gave birth yesterday, and they're both pretty fine. And you might see that she has more teeth than usually. This one here looks like a retinta cow, and looking at the belly, this will be probably the next calf. Who knows when, but it's probably just a couple of days away. And this one here is one of those limousines cows that we bought a little while ago, the group of 16, and she stayed skinny, and probably the bulls were not very interested in her. But doesn't matter. She has a mouse to eat grass and turn it into food for the soil, and therefore her presence is more than justified. So here is a close-up from the side of the retinta looking one. Some of you mentioned something about cows with short legs, and I would think that this one qualifies. The retinta cow here in this area had been used to draw carriages and all kinds of other work. So it's basically has been a multi-use animal. But then they are all mixed, so I can't really say this is how a retinta looks like. This is a mix of everything. And later on, I hope that we can move towards old breeds like retinta, but the condition for that is to have enough forage. So right now, these are a tool to create pasture that will then allow us to feed well the future herd. So there will be a transition. This is our paddock CT2, and as you can see, we are trying to get biomass in here, because it has been an area that was very poor, and therefore we feed them alfalfa pellets and straw in order to get this biomass. The straw is the rough fodder that fills the rumen, and the alfalfa pellets provide the protein, and so they are fine. And it works very well. And I hope that we will be able to establish some sort of crop here in this area with the help of someone who promised to come with mules to till. It's a one-time job, and then we need to keep those plants alive over summer, and that is why we have our water line and our water tank. So this is going to be an interesting thing. And if this thing with the mules won't work out, we do have an option by now to rent a tractor for a week, and we can then do this, because we found someone who has a lot of tractors in his lot, so there's certainly a machine available. And we can also use that tractor with the auger that we still have, and then we will see. But for now, the purpose of the cows being here is to add the biomass, and next week they will be grazing grass again in a new area that is being prepared. Up here the guys have started to put in these metal fence posts. This is going to be another road, but this time it will be an animal lane and a vehicle driveway in combination. And let me walk a little bit. Hopefully it's not shaking too much. So this turns around here to the left and then continues over the stony area. We try to put this where the soil is bad, and then there at a distance it loops around again. You can probably spot the fence posts, and then goes down to the right, and eventually this will find its way towards this little funnel and go down into the area where we have another shallow well, which we then call our zone D down there. And zone D basically starts here at the altiplano, or maybe we call it E. We will have to see how we mark the paddocks. But the thing is, that is, it's going to be the extension now. So by now we have started to work up here, and we are making our way down. And of course some things look bad, some other things look pretty lush. It depends. So if I pan around a little bit, you can see what we have here. And under the trees there is always the better grass. So this area is not in very bad shape, but of course it needs nutrients, and grass needs to be bitten in order to grow. And the area here on this side of the future road is going to be the next paddock. So there is some grass, but they will quickly eat this up. But at least we have some foundation here that we can improve upon. This will be a very large paddock again, and then later we will make them smaller so that we can get to our target size of 5,000 square meters. So here is the curve where this driveway animal lane will then turn around, and for the time being we decided that we simply make a gate at the very end of this curve, so that the animals will not go anywhere where we don't want them to go. We are about to remove the rams from the flock in order to stop breeding. The older Juan has some sheep of his own, and he's going to take the rams with him. Well, it is still green, but lack of rain makes this difficult. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks that changes, or we might lose it. Cow 5513 and her calf are still at the altiplano alone, away from the herd for their own protection, but very soon the herd will come up and go into an adjacent temporary paddock, and that is when they will join the herd again.
¿Dónde veo yo el vídeo?
En YouTube.
¿YouTube qué pongo? ¿Estefan?
No, Granja Caimito.
¿Cómo?
Granja Caimito.
¿Ah, sí?
Sí.
En YouTube.
Ajá.
Ya. Entonces yo lo veo, ¿no?
Sí, ahí vas a salir.
Sí. Vamos. Bueno, apaño. Ahí lo descargamos.
Sí, ahí.
Ahí. Vamos a ver cómo se nos da.
We get another delivery of straw. This time it is old spent straw. Well, it got wet and started to decompose. This is for biomass, to create soil in our future garden here. It is a bit narrow, but hopefully he can manage without doing too much damage. There's this little branch up there, but maybe he manages. It looks good so far.
¿No? En palma y corta. ¿Cuántos seguidores?
Son casi 2.500. Casi 2.500.
¿Cuánto? 30 y
2.500.
Bien, ¿no?
Sí. This is going to be dumped here, doesn't really matter how, and then we will use the backhoe and move it to the place we want it to be. It is always the same procedure basically. And while this falls, I can tell a little bit, this up here is going to be a garden, but it's the garden around the house. So it's not a market garden or something like that. So it will be more of the food forest type garden. Therefore, there is no problem that this is up here at the very top. The thing is, from here you have a very beautiful view. So here you can see that view. And now that in Andalusia you are allowed to build a house out in the countryside, even if it's not related to some agricultural activity, we definitely have gotten a green light to build a house here. Of course, this will not be a very quick thing, which is why we are starting with the garden. So we build up some soil here in some sort of beds, and plant shrubs, trees and all that, so that this has a few years head start. And now he's out. And these two up here are pretty fine. So next week, today is Saturday, they can join the rest of the herd. So this whole thing with 5513 in the stress turned out very good and positive. but it could have cost her life without any medical attention. So good that Francisco the veterinarian was here very quickly. As this place here is going to have a concrete slab for a building, we got some help, and it turned out that it's much better to go deeper instead of higher, so digging instead of filling up.
Sí, aquí está bien. Aquí está bien.
Angel and Jesus, who works for a construction company, are measuring and marking the area for the foundation of the building. There will also be some floor drains in the concrete slab, and so we better get this right from the start. We had a visitor, and that provided the opportunity to walk with him to the very far end of our land. I've never seen water in this creek here, but then I have never been here when it rains heavily. Back here we have a whole kitchen garden with all kinds of Mediterranean herbs. This is rosemary, and it has started to flower. Except for wildlife, there have been no animals here. This area has been left alone for many years. And you can see this is all oak trees, and then the shrubs in the form of the Mediterranean herbs. The soil here is also very poor looking. That was it for today. I hope you enjoyed getting a glimpse about all the things that are also going on, and especially I hope you enjoyed the few images from our wild zone E, where we still have to figure out how to treat it. Please come back in a few days.